Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight we're going to continue with Codex. So we are using Codex. In the first video, you saw how to get up and running on Windows. The short story is that we use WSL2, and of course we are using pay to go. So I placed in $20 on my ChatGPT account on platform openai.com. I created a key and a token right there, and I gave that to, I made a login to Codex, and then I created a new folder on my WSL instance right here. Of course, I'm using SDKman, so I've installed all of my my SDKs with SDKman like Java, Maven, Gradle, etc. And I also have NVM, the Node version manager, installed. That's how I got Node in version 25, so I could install Codex. Okay, but let's get started right here. We already have a conversation. I'm going to press Control-C to exit this, so we can just see what's actually going on. And it actually says right here, if you want to continue the session from last time, then just use resume, run Codex, Codex resume, and then this long hash right here. But instead of doing that, of course, we cannot remember that. And I'm inside this Mike's folder right here, and I have a datetime service folder where my Spring Boot project is. So we told Codex to create us a Spring Boot project that could return the time from some different locations, and that is why we have this REST controller right here. But let us try. We should try not to use the ID. But use Codex instead, and then we just use the ID to verify what is going on. Because it makes us much more efficient. We don't have to create all the boilerplate code right there. So let me write Codex. Then I will say resume. I will not say which instance I want to go back to. So I'll just say Codex resume. That was what I want to do. So let's see, Codex resume. What does it say? Okay, so it says right here you have a lot of instances, Mike. Which one did you want to resume? And we named it Codex demo. The first word that you mentioned after Codex, if that is the conversation, that is the name of the conversation that you want to start. And I can see right here, this is the one that I created, and I updated it 1 minute ago. And of course, I also have some other conversations that I started with. Of course, you do not need to continue on one conversation in your project. That can, for instance, be useful if you want to both have a backend and also a front-end application. Then you can have two different conversations with Codex for those two situations. But you can also just pull it up in one big conversation. It's totally up to you. Once in a while, then we can write status just to see how expensive this has been until now. So we can see here that we used this amount of tokens. It will not tell us how much it costs, but it will give you a kind of a number of how many things we have done yet right here. And approval. Here you can also see about that. It will have to ask us if it needs to do something right here. So just for fun, then we will say, let us go to the date, run, and then, add the Maven wrapper to the project. Let us see what it does here now. So what it actually does first it will actually look inside the subfolders and the folders and see, okay, what do we actually have right here? We have a project right here, and we have a POM file. There's something with Maven there, and then we'll try to guess what should actually happen. And if it's unsure, then it will come up and ask us. If it needs to download something, then it will come and ask us like this. Let me say yes. And this is an old and sour Maven wrapper, so we will tell it to upgrade that afterwards. And this is why sometimes I actually like to create the project with I actually like to get started with Spring initializer right here, and then I like to start and create the Maven wrapper myself, because there's no time saved in actually having it downloading like that just right now. Of course, I should have just said no when it came and asked me. So it's my own as well. It's because of myself right here. So let's see what we do right here. We say Say update the Maven wrapper, update Maven wrapper to latest GA. And let me just go here. This is the project right here. Let us just see what it's doing. So we actually have the Maven wrapper right there. We have the MN folder right here. Here we have the version is 334. Okay, the wrapper version is not exactly the same as the. Here I have Maven up. That's actually good. That's actually quite good. Okay. So I'll just undo this. I don't want to do that, so I just press escape. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want it to create. Does it already create a good test? I want to create a good test for the world time controller. Yeah, we need a test for that. So write a JUnit a spring test for the world time controller. Be verbose in the tests and use aspect J, just because the syntax is cooler. Let's see if I can know how to do that. There is still a lot of weight with the codex, so sometimes I think a good mix of you writing your own code when you know exactly how to do it, and then having Codex to help you whenever there's something where you don't remember how to do it. It could be like extracting data from a spreadsheet. Maybe you don't remember how to do it through the POI Apache framework. So what do I do now? Spring Boot Starter Web, and it also added AOP. And now I create the test. Let's see what it does. Sometimes you actually become smarter from using Codex because it shows you some tips and tricks, and it actually writes the code in another way that you would have done it yourself. And you could, of course, you would also use Codex to, for instance, write your entities. But if you use it for everything, of course. Also, in just a minute, we want to initialize a Git repository. We will also have it done. Yeah, so it also does that. I don't like all the aspects. What does it say right there? It says that you would like to run MN test. Yes, run a test to see if it works. So now it's running the tests, and let's see what happens. When we're done, then we go back to the ID to actually see what happened, because I know now it created a new test. So here now we got a new file right here. So this is a file right here. Blah blah blah. Controller must list exactly for yes. And we need to refresh our Maven in the IDE because we got a new dependency. Wrapper version. Okay. So now let us see what happens. So let us see that if I call test in the ID, what actually happens, so we can actually follow. See if it's green. Yes, it's still green. We have now we have two tests and they're both green. But let us see what actually happened inside the test right here. So we're calling the controller get world times. That's good. And then we just check what is going on. Assert all. And that comes from the JUnit 5 framework. Assertions. It was assert J, that was what I wanted to add, but that's okay. Because then we just go back to Codex and we say convert the test to be using assert J. So now it will change the code. It's not a good idea to sit and look at the file in your IDE, because especially in IntelliJ, every time it loses focus, then it will try to save it, and it will notice that it has been changed outside the project, outside the IDE. But you can't come in. You can't become problems right here. So the aspect, we wanted to remove that actually. Remove. Oh, this. Now it runs the test. Of course, I could have skipped that part. Yeah, let me skip that part. So, remove the undo the aspect J stuff you added. I actually don't want that. It was assert J. That was what I was. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. But now it probably removes too much. Let us just see. Oh, okay. If it just removes this, that's actually what I would expect, and also the code that uses aspect, because we don't need that part actually right now. Okay, so now it's done. Let me just check, see if I'm happy. Did it change it? Assert that. Let's see what it comes from. So now it comes from assert J. Yes. So now it uses assert J instead of using JUnit5. That is really awesome, right? So it is much faster to do this, of course. This way, and sometimes if you think it takes too long, of course, then you just have a sip of your coffee and enjoy life while you have Codex do all of the heavy lifting. It is not something that will replace you from using your brain. It will help you to do all the stuff that you usually when you think something, then you don't always know the syntax or how to do stuff exactly. Then that is where Codex is really powerful and can help you. Of course, you can use the integrated version where you have it inside the IDE. That's also possible. I just like to have it in a CLI first, because then I have it like separated. I have whatever I do myself that is in the IDE, but it's up to you. We will do another video on the plugin instead right here. So here we have the tests. Okay, just for fun, let me see what here we have the. So we would actually like to curl this right here, and it is a get mapping right here. So we have a get mapping, and we have that is the endpoint. So let us create a curl command so we can actually try it out. Also try it out in the browser. So let me just run the application. Of course, again, I could have used Codex to run the application. I just like to show that I'm still in control. Yeah. So now it starts up, and then we go to localhost 8080, and then we'll see what happens. Localhost 8080, and we go to API time. Look how beautiful this is. Look, and it took. Of course, it took. I could have almost have done this in the same time if I wrote it myself, but I would definitely not. I definitely save some time with this content right here. When you want to create something, especially dummy values, it is really good at creating dummy data and dummy values. And if you want to have a spreadsheet with some data, then I will just say, hey, create an Excel spreadsheet or a LibreOffice calc sheet or something like that, and then place it in a file. Or if I wanted some dummy data for my test in a CSV file in this format, then I will just tell Codex to do that. Then I save time using my brain on that, and I can just sit and have some water or coffee and enjoy life. And do not worry, you will not be replaced by this technology. It is something that you will be using as another tool. It's an extra tool. I think thinking will never be replaced. Never say never, but that's what I think. These LLMs and all that, they can help you, and it's like looking up something. It's like a dictionary, right? So a dictionary does not replace humans. Of course, it's a very advanced dictionary. Yeah. So what else do we want to do? The next thing is that your annoying colleagues or the architect or the tech lead in your group might say, hey, Mike, where's your readme.markdown file that describes what you're trying to do and what, and where I can find information about the dependencies that you're using. So we need again, we use Codex to create a readme.markdown file that describes the purpose of the project. Include a section with links to external resources where we can learn about the libraries used. About to use libraries. Yes, let's try that. So let's see what it does now. I was creating a README file, and when we're done with that, okay, it's already done. No, it's not done. It's still adding. Yes. So let us see the README Markdown file right there. This README Markdown file. It says that this is how. Yes, it's really good to test it and to learn more. Yes, it's beautiful, perfect. Whoa! Thank you very much for saving my time with this. I really, I don't like making this README Markdown. Yeah, sometimes I actually do. It depends on my mood, but usually I prefer to code actually, and to make stuff work. So it's really cool that they couldn't do this to us. Okay, initialize and create a Git repository that refers to this origin. And then of course I need to go to my GitHub account and then create a Git repository. GitHub. It does not have access to, per default, does not have access to the internet and cannot do stuff like this yet. So I'll just create one right here. It says Codex demo date time. So this is the name of it. Boom, boom. Yes, please, yes. Visible public. Yes. Create. And here we have the origin right here. So we say, hey. Of course, I could have just called that script. That's what I usually would do. But now I just say this. Create a Git repository that refers to this origin. Blah 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 blah. And what else do we do? So now it runs in init. Now it runs remote add origin. And then we say create a git ignore file. Create a git ignore file. So now we'll create a git ignore. You can see every time we ask it to do something, then it's actually looking up. You can see it's actually looking up what is already there, and then it will use that part. And that's also where the magic lies, because it does not know, of course, when it tries to guess our intent, then it needs to look at, it just looks at the folder and looks at the structure that we already have. And then it tries to guess what it should actually do. And that is also why sometimes it could be good to have different sessions for, if you have maybe have a Git repository with both the backend and a front end, and maybe also a pipeline. Sometimes you want to split up your sessions, but you can still have them in the same if you want to. If the benefit of splitting up your sessions, then you can actually start in a subfolder which is only related to backend stuff, for instance, and then it will be easier for Codex to actually guess what you are trying to do. Okay, so now it's done. Sorry, I was just rambling them. So let's see right here. So here we have the git ignore. Look at this git ignore file right here. Yes, it's beautiful. Let us go back and then we say, hey, do a git commit with a long message, and then push the code. It is not always able to push the code because it cannot access the internet, but it can. But let us see if I can do it. Maybe it will ask for access to GitHub. It did not. Okay. I needed to configure the email and my username. I forgot to do that. I said it should have been more specific. When we initialize a new repository, then of course we should also configure the. Of course, you can also set it globally in Git. Let's see what it does now. Right now. So now we made a message. Oh, look at this long message right here. Yes. That's a good message. That's a good git commit message. That's exactly what I would have written myself. Okay, it's actually done. Okay, maybe it could actually push the code. So let us just see right here. Control K, nothing to commit. Control Shift K. No, I did not push it. Yeah, it did not push it, but that is okay. Let us just for fun. Let us just say do a. Oh, I should have said. Okay, we pushed it. Okay, it was because there was a. It prompted me for whether it was okay or not. And pushed it. Yes, I could push it. That was really good. Thank you very much. Yes. Now let's see here again. If we press Control Shift K. Yes, it has already been pushed. Very nice. Very nice. That's awesome. This is really awesome. It's definitely not something that will save our time. So then, what should we do as the last thing? Create a Excel spreadsheet with dummy data, with the columns included with the following. What could this be? It could be a superhero name with dummy data. We should have dummy with at least 100 dummy data. Not right now. I'm just recording. Not now. And then we say superhero name, and we say power level and description. So let's see that. Now we'll get a spreadsheet, and then I will wrap it up. And then we can see the usage when we're done. It was like $1.80 or something like that. So okay, and what it actually does is it actually uses Python. That's a funny thing. It uses Python to actually generate this this spreadsheet right here. It uses the library OpenPyXL. So yeah, it's working. Generate a spreadsheet. Yes. So now it's done. So let me go to our project and looks right here, and then I can right click. Okay, I forgot to give it the file name actually, but it Hero Rooster XLS. So okay, copy path. Then I get the full path right here. Go out to give me a file explorer, and yes, here's the data. Superhero, Crimson Tempest, Galactic Dragon. It's just weird names that it came up with by itself. Power level. This is really cool. See, this is really awesome. Then we can use this for we can use this for a test, for instance. It is really powerful. It saves a ton of time. There's no doubt about that. Then let's go back to Codex actually, so because I want to see my usage now. So we have my keys right there, and then we have the billing, and then we have the usage. So how much did this cost? No. So now we're up at $2.17, and it's before we started it was like at $1.80 something. So it's actually not that it's not that expensive, of course, if it's something that you do professionally. But if it's something that you do for your own home projects, then you could think about what you wanted to generate and what you don't want it to generate. For instance, I could have saved like I think 60% of this expense right here if I use Spring Initializer just to get the project up and started, and then I could use Codex for the rest, like create the risk controller that does blah 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 blah, and then then take it from there. So use Codex when it makes sense, and use your chubby fingers to type whatever needs to be typed when that makes sense. I hope you had as much fun as I had, and I like all of you. Thank you very much for all of your comments. They give me a lot of energy. So thank you very much. Have a great evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.